Baltimore, January 7th, 2026, Zoning Board of Appeals meeting. We'll open with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Open with another year. Thank you, everybody, for their continued service on the zoning board. And to Bill, I want to thank him for his service last year as well as the chairman. And our new member, Mark, welcome.
Thank you.
So tonight we have David Schultz, Scheller Park Road variance, consideration, non-conforming use. This is the location property at 161 Scheller Park Road, better known as the old Hunter Bus Terminal. It's to be a commercial business or building within what is now a residential area, correct?
Correct, according to the zoning change of 2016.
Okay.
It was previously when zoning was passed back, I believe in 2009.
Mm-hmm.
It was originally zoned commercial, and had a long history of commercial use prior to that. And from 2009 into 2016, up until now, currently it's got commercial use on it. However, it was somehow changed to residential agriculture in 2016. Zoning up change, and I don't know what.
Yeah, I think it was probably because you're right off the corridor or the 9W there. I don't know the reason.
Yeah, doesn't seem to make sense. There's commercial properties right off the corridor on Roberts Hill Road and Schoolhouse Lane as well.
Sure.
It doesn't make any sense. And they don't have a 10,000 square foot concrete block building. It's been used commercially for 75 years.
Correct. No, I agree with you. I really don't see many uses for a building of that size.
No.
At the moment, it was something that was grandfathered in throughout the years. David, what do you have now as far as tenants in there? Who was occupying that?
There are two tenants in there now. Currently, there's a local company, Coleman Concrete.
Mm-hmm.
They do concrete work. They're local from the Baltimore, and they run storage in their equipment and operations out of there. And there's a second business in there now that's called New Team Carports. They assemble and install carports in the kind of the eastern mid-Atlantic up into New England. So they came up from Kingston area. They're using that as really as their outpost, if you will. They have a lot of trucker trailers. They have like what they call hot shot trailers, 3/4 ton pickups and trailers, and they put all the parts on there, go out, assemble them for people who buy them off the internet, and they go all over the place for them. So that's really kind of their central depot where they assemble all the packages and put them on the trailers and go out for.
And they're doing all their fabrication there.
They started doing their fabrication there, and then I got a visit from the code enforcement officer, and he raised some concerns. So at that point in time, they felt it was more advantageous to keep a small fab shop down in Kingston. So they're using it for everything except for the harder fabrication. And there's really not a lot of hard fabrication with this. This is all 12, 14 gauge, like steel and stuff. They tack a few things together, cut 40 footers down to 12 footers for walls and whatnot. So it's not like it's a smelting plant or any heavy welding going on or anything like that, you know.
How long have you owned the property?
It's been in Schultz Farm and Properties, the LLC, since 2016. Prior to that, it was in just my father's name. It was a legacy property that we've owned since the early 80s or so.
Okay.
So
your family's owned it since the 80s.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
So your father leased it to Hunter Bus.
Correct. They were long-term tenants. They were there since '86, I believe. So really, we weren't on the market. We weren't in the deal. We weren't in the business of marketing commercial rental properties. It just was a decent fit for them, and then they got, I guess, enticed by the town of Coxsackie and the IDA to own their own piece of property and have commercial businesses over there. And unfortunately, I left the legacy building now vacant. And I thought I was doing a pretty decent job by providing a legacy building for some other folks who can provide. Who didn't have the resources or the wherewithal to have one at that point in time. And these legacy buildings don't have a whole lot of use for them, So this was a good opportunity to give some of those smaller companies an opportunity to get exactly what they wanted there.
Yeah, for such a long-standing structure in this town, I really don't see any other use for a building like that.
It's kind of good. It's almost like micro businesses in there because you've got that one, and then wasn't there an auto one in there too for a while? Somebody doing auto work?
Prior to the bus company, there was a bunch of different companies in there since the inception of that building. It's got a lot of history of use of light industrial and factory and truck terminals throughout the course of its life. And I remember from the 80s. Prior to that, I got the history from my father, and quite honestly, it was built as a sawmill by the Schellers, who built Scheller Park Road, and most of the buildings that are built around there were built by lumber that was sawn in that building as an original sawmill. So it predates most of the buildings, most of the people that would be around it, So, but yeah, right now it's like I said, it's got two small businesses in there now, which I think is a good thing for the town, in my opinion.
It's kind of surprising that it was changed to residential agriculture because it's so commercial.
Yeah, I was even more surprised than you
I
probably
betcha.
when I saw that, and I really didn't even notice it until after the tenants had moved in there, and I had a conversation with Alan Jordan, who stopped by because he was just. He said he was inspecting a job next door, I guess, and he saw some activity over there, and it started a dialogue and kind of got me where I am today.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it doesn't make any intuitive sense at all, really. But I guess in the meeting with the planning board that we went to back in August, I know Chairman Van Etten had said that he had some thoughts that potentially that the zoning was even incorrect. Like, there are two versions of zoning maps there. In 2008, there was a preliminary zoning map, and then the actual one that was ratified in 2009 was a little different. And in the 2008 version, originally had excluded that parcel and a couple other parcels from the commercial zone. The one that they finally ratified into town law in 2009 included the building that we're speaking of now. So once he said that, it made intuitive sense to me that potentially when we revisited this thing and updated the zoning, because in 2016 it looked to me like the biggest part of the zoning was that they consolidated multiple commercial zoning areas that they had. They had light commercial, heavy commercial, intermediate commercial, and whatnot, and they put it all into one commercial zone. So when he said that, it made sense to me. Potentially when they grabbed, the consultant engineer who came up with the master plan and everything, grabbed the map, they grabbed the preliminary map, not the ratified map, and they changed all of the different color codes for the different commercials into one commercial zone and worked off kind of the wrong map. Was kind of that's the only thing I can think of to come into that after the comments that were made. And really, if someone was to take a drive down there, you would say, why would they exclude this from commercial after it was originally put into commercial there, so.
It almost seems that we should look at it maybe with the planning board and see if there's some way to, I mean, is this how it should be, or is this incorrect zoning? Because it's obviously a commercial building.
Yeah.
It's definitely not a house. It's not like
No.
even a barn. It's a commercial building.
No, and it's right adjacent to the, the commercial corridor that was there. So whether they're trying to shrink the commercial corridor or not, I don't know, but it doesn't seem to make sense. And obviously it affects the usability of that property.
Sure.
Right now I'm coming here for a variance to do something that was completely permitted use.
Forever.
Forever, if it would have still remained zoned commercial like it originally was. So yeah, definitely, I would be hugely in favor of taking a look at this and blowing the dust off of it and saying, hey, where was a mistake made? Because it quite possibly, I mean, it's got big ramifications for me as an owner of that moving forward there, you know?
Right.
Going forward, Dave, I think this is the best bet, because once you get this variance, no matter what the zoning maps change in the future, this variance will stand.
Yeah, definitely.
So
It's the quickest turnaround too, because I know that the zoning changes and stuff like that, that's public hearings and.
If something changes down the road, I mean, going back, I can't stress enough the, how this building's grandfathered in, and it's been there for 80 years as a commercial, well before zoning was even thought of here in the town of Baltimore, correct? And this variance will be, hopefully the end of it for you.
Okay. Great.
Going forward.
Yeah, I had asked for, when you issue variances for this, I know that there's a bunch of different uses that are shown, within the permitted uses of the property or whatnot. This is such a diverse building and it has such mixed characteristics to it. I think on my application, I listed the uses that would make sense for it. I mean, for you to give me a variance to run a truck terminal out of it, well, it's also got an office space in it. It's also got warehousing in it. It's got a bunch of stuff in there. So, I think, I only applied in the variance for things that make sense, that's viable for that building support. I wasn't looking to make it into a doctor's office, for God's sake, or a daycare center, even though that will be allowed in a commercial area. I'm looking for things that building is perfect for it. I thought that's why I put in there for tenants, and that's really would make most sense, I think.
Yep. The one thing I would stress would be mindful of the neighbors, or be mindful of the neighbors. It still is everywhere around that area is a residential zone.
Yeah. I've had conversations after I spoke with Alan on some of the concerns that may have come up. I did talk to them about that, and that they are a lot more mindful of that. They came from the city. It was primarily the company who came in from Kingston. They were in the middle of the city, Kingston, where there is no quiet hours, and they're aware of that, and they're mindful of that. I told them, I said, the easiest way to get along with everybody is to not bother everybody. So they're on board with that.
Sure. I think going forward too with the building department, I believe the building department will require a fire inspection for a building like this. That's probably.
Okay, I had gotten an independent architect did an assessment, an occupancy assessment of that, and given his interpretation of where we are from the perspective of code compliance and whatnot there. So I can easily share that with them as well.
Yeah, and just stuff, fab shops, stuff like that. Obviously, big fire concern here in the town of Baltimore. So. And then the other thing too, that coincides with the building department, granted this variance is goes through and it is technically now a commercial, would be list of occupancies.
Yeah, and that's
list and occupancy. I think you're going from type B occupancy, storage, which require separation. We just ask that you work with local code enforcement and just keep diligence.
Yeah, we will.
That.
We will. And that's part of the architectural assessment that I have done. Then I think that will get everybody, I think, more or less on the same page, and or at least open the dialogue that has to have to get everybody feeling comfortable with it.
I agree. Yeah. Variance would be granted based on good communication with the code enforcement and keeping that all as in time goes on, you could get different occupants with different, all sorts of different things. You said daycare, for instance. There's a whole slew of other things that comes with that, state regulated things, not even stuff for the town of Baltimore. But you never know what. We just want to leave the door open in the future for other tenants that could come in.
Okay, that makes sense. I was mindful in the selection of the tenants of the type of building it was and what it affords there, and I likely will continue to be down there because we get into a whole different animal, as you likely know, once you get into education centers and places. Life safety becomes like overwhelming, and it likely doesn't make sense. So
and there's other, for instance, like schools, daycares. There's another yearly code enforcement visits and other stuff like that that needs to get done. So we just ask that you work with the town going forward and be mindful of the occupants.
Yeah, definitely will. Yeah.
Does this variance need to have a public hearing?
Yes.
It does, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you want to go through the EAF and stuff tonight?
Sure.
Okay. I think you have it there, and then I have part 2 for you to fill out as well.
Does anybody else have any questions? Sam, this is right here.
It's right across the street from my house.
It is. I was gonna say backyard would be your front yard.
Front yard.
I don't think it's really our concern what they do. That's up to the planning board and the code enforcer. We're just to give them a variance to use it as commercial property. Right? I'm trying to say it correctly.
Correct.
So what they do afterward, that's
There's
between
no,
they and whoever it is. The rest, next board.
Right, would that require site plan review for 2 new
You wouldn't- no, you
businesses,
wouldn't.
or not anymore because
because
we
you're
created the
leasing,
variance
you're
for
leasing,
it?
and you're leasing. You're not going to the planning board for lease, for bringing in tenants unless it's something
Okay,
very obscene.
There's no appreciable change to the site, or
That's why I asked. Just be
Right.
mindful of going forward. Just be mindful of that.
Yeah.
And that it is a commercial zoned area, building, property in a technically a
Alright,
residential district. Alright. Short environmental assessment form, part 2. Alright. Will the proposed action create a material conflict with an adopted land use plan or zoning regulation? I don't believe so, no. I think about that one.
oh, I didn't, I'm
No, I don't
sorry,
think
I don't think I added the part 2. I can grab.
Is there a
one
part
if you
one?
want
Did I miss the part one?
The part 1's in there, yeah.
Oh, but we already filled it out. Do we want to
He filled
review
out
it?
the part 1, and then
Well, let's review it just
I'll
to make
grab
sure.
everybody part 2 real quick.
Okay. All right, part 1. Does the proposed action only involve the legislative adoption of a plan, local law, ordinance, administrative rule, or regulation? No. Does the proposed action require permit, approval, or funding from any other governmental agency? No. Very good. Is the proposed action a permitted use under the zoning regulations? No. That's why we're here. Is the proposed action consistent with the predominant character of the existing building or natural landscape? Yes. Is the site of proposed action located in or does it adjoin a state-listed critical environmental area? No. 8A, will the proposed action result in a substantial increase in traffic above present levels? No. And again, I guess we can't stress enough to be mindful. You mentioned trucking, the hot shots hauling stuff out of there. It's a short trip. I think you pass what, 1-2 houses going out to the 9W corridor.
Yeah,
Yeah, so just
yeah. There's really no appreciable more of those than there were buses when it was 100 motor coach here, and hopefully they're a lot quieter.
they should be quieter. Yeah.
Definitely.
Okay. 8B, are public transportation services available at or near the site of the proposed action? No. Are any pedestrian accommodations or bicycle routes available on or near site of the proposed action? No. Does the proposed action meet or exceed the state emergency code requirements? It's not applicable.
That would be a no.
Yeah,
Would be a
so
no.
no.
Would be a no.
Will not meet the state energy code requirements, probably. Not that. Okay. Will the proposed action connect to an existing public-private water supply? No. Already connected to public water.
Their action isn't doing anything.
No, it's not.
It's already existing.
Yeah. Will the proposed action connect to an existing wastewater utilities? No. Existing septic. April,
Yes.
we made a change on this. Do we have to initial? So you have to
Yeah.
initial? All right, so 9, I don't want to get too far ahead. We just wrote NA. I want to mark that no.
Okay,
Um,
Mr. Schultz, will you come and do that for me? Just mark this no and then write your initials next to it. That way it's officially changed. Right there, yep. Thank you.
All right, 12A. Does the site contain a structure that is listed on either the state or national register of historic places? No. 12B, is a proposed action located in a archaeological sensitive area? No. 13A, does any portion of the site of the proposed action or lands adjoining the proposed action contain wetlands or other water bodies regulated by the federal, state, or local agency? No. 13B, would the proposed action physically alter or encroach into any existing wetland or water body? No. Identify the typical habit types that occur on or are likely to be found on the project site. Commercial building. I'm not sure suburban
Yeah, I wouldn't think it'd be urban.
or urban would apply to this. It really is, it isn't an agricultural zones. Again, that's why we're here tonight.
If you want to change it to agricultural grasslands.
Yeah, I think
I was-
so,
I was
because
trying to.
I know it can be confusing, reading it myself, I see that.
Yeah.
But that's what it is, and that's what it should be marked as. So Dave, you want to sign,
Sure.
initial that, and just make that correction.
Click that one. Thank you. Sure, yeah, you can do that. Perfect. We'll just do that.
Does the site of the proposed action contain any species of animal or associated habits listed by the state or federal government as threatened or endangered? No. Is the project site located in a 100-year floodplain? No. Will the proposed action create stormwater discharge? No. Stormwater discharge flow into properties? No. No. Okay. Does the proposed action include construction or any other activities that result in impoundment of water or other liquids? No. Has the site of proposed action or any adjoining property been the location of an active or closed solid waste management facility? No. Has the site of proposed action or adjoining property been the subject of remediation? No. All right, I'm happy with that.
Let's go check.
All right. Back to part 2. We did number 1. No. 2, will the proposed action result in a change in the use or intensity of use of lands? No.
No.
Will the proposed action impair the character or quality of the existing community?
No.
No. Will the proposed action have an impact on the environmental characteristics that cause the establishment of a critical environmental area? I don't believe so, no. Will the proposed action result in an adverse change in the existing level of traffic or affect existing infrastructure for mass transit, biking, or walkways? I would say no. Will the proposed action cause an increase in the use of energy and it fails to incorporate reasonable available energy conservation or renewable energy opportunities?
No.
No. Will the proposed action impact existing public-private water supplies? No, not anymore. Public-private watershed, treatment utilities? No, not further. Will the proposed action impair the character or quality of important historic, archaeological, architectural, or aesthetic resources? No. Will the proposed action result in an adverse change to natural resources? No. Will the proposed action result in an increase in the potential for erosion, flooding, or drainage problems? No. Will the proposed action create a hazard to environmental resources or human health? No. We are the lead agency.
Yes.
Seventh, yes. 2026. And we should vote.
Yep.
We'll vote for a public hearing, yes.
We should do a motion for a
Motion
negative
approved.
declaration for the
Okay.
seeker.
Okay. Make a motion for a negative declaration on the Part 2 environmental assessment form.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Any opposed?
I don't believe so.
No. No. Just making sure.
And then, public hearing, I don't think we have to make a motion, we just have to set a public hearing.
Okay. You know what, I'm not,
You gotta list all of the properties.
I do,
Might have to come back.
yeah.
you do get one,
I'll make a motion to go to
sure.
to hold a public hearing.
Do you wanna set the date
It'll be next,
next time,
The next-
February
whatever meeting that
4th?
is. Yeah,
I have it written down.
February 4th.
okay.
Yes.
I make a motion to hold a public hearing February 4th, 2026 for, David Schultz, Sheller Park Road variance.
I'll second that motion.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right. Dave, April will hand you a list of adjoining properties, certified mail to all neighboring properties to notify them of a public hearing.
Okay.
That's the next step.
Okay.
And other than that, I don't think we need anything more from them.
Okay,
Right? Do you
I don't think so.
Yeah.
If anything comes up, I will let everybody know.
Yeah.
But I think that's about it. I have your list of neighbors, send certified mail. When you come to the public hearing, bring all the green cards you
Oh,
receive
okay.
back.
Yes.
And if you don't receive a green card, bring the receipt that it was sent.
Okay.
Okay, and then there's your list, and there's just a little note for your neighbors that say what you're doing.
Okay. Is
And
it like a form letter for me just to sign at the end? or
that's
something?
it, yeah.
And is there a time frame? Like, in other words, I mean, I obviously get them out sooner rather than
Yeah.
later.
We need to have them by next, by next
the
meeting.
next meeting.
So that's February 4th, right?
February 4th.
By
So-
February 4th.
Public hearing will be held February 4th at 7 PM.
Yeah,
And
so
you
I'm
have to have
saying
all your cards back by then.
Yeah, but I said these letters have to go out then within the next couple of days, because you want to give them enough notice.
Of course,
Yeah.
yes, yeah.
Gotcha. So we'll try to get them out at the end of the week.
Okay.
That's fine.
Well, I have physical copies for you. I can also send you an email with the
How about
digital
both?
copies.
How about
You got it? Yeah, of course.
Mark, you had a,
I was just asking about the scheduling requirements and timeframes, but April, you seem to,
Yeah, it's as
Resolve
long
that.
as you get it in, I think within the week, you get it out within the 7 days. You know, I'm pretty sure everybody gets it and we'll get it back to you by then. Not everybody picks their mail up and stuff, so.
No, not anymore.
The
And I
earlier,
think
the earlier the better,
One of
otherwise
your
you're
properties
prolonging
is,
another month.
No,
Yeah.
I plan on getting them. I
And-
have all the information.
yeah, and one of your properties is actually Niagara Mohawk. So just show that you've sent it, a receipt that it was sent, even if you don't get a green card back.
Yeah, that's going to Syracuse, right?
Yeah, so, you know, utility companies, I'm sure they jump on coming to public hearings or variances. All right, so I think you guys are all set for now, and I will send you an email tomorrow morning. Here's your list, and we'll see you
I
on
appreciate it.
thank you.
February
Bye.
Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wrong door, you guys have no after phone. It'll get
I
there
only had it, we
soon,
better.
it'll
I
get
don't know
there
how to get in
soon.
there either.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, see it.
No.
We'll do minutes.
You have the part two for me, Brad?
Yeah,
This door.
I'll just give it to you after the meeting.
there's probably
Okay.
steps.
No, that,
No,
oh,
it's
right
not convoluted
there.
in my papers.
Oh. I just have to handle it all.
All right, we have to approve minutes from August 6th of 2025.
Make the motion.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Minutes are approved.
Are you gonna abstain from that because
I'm
you weren't here?
abstaining, yes.
Perfect,
Mark abstains.
got it.
All right.
Okay,
New business is done.
yes it is.
Old business.
Old business?
I didn't know Randy was coming, so
Either did I.
surprise.
And we're here now.
But you're here, so you wanna,
So
Uh-oh.
I got a phone call from the building inspector a couple days ago. Asking about my variance for the front. So I've been through it, last year, we were 6 months doing this. So originally I went to the building inspector, Alan refused it, went to the planning board, their letter's right here, they refused it because of the side yard, backyard, and front yard. Came here, went through multiple months of green stamp, green things and all that stuff. And it all got approved. Well, something was left out. Front is left out. So the right side is there, the back is there, but the front isn't there. And this is the letter from the planning board refusing me, telling me I had to get a
Right.
variance for all sides.
can
Yeah. Go.
I watched the video last night when you guys first came and everybody asked you about the front
Yep.
and you said you didn't need it for the front
When I watched the
several
video,
times.
when
was
I
like, "Oh."
when I watched the video today,
Right.
they said something about the front, and I
Yeah.
said, it was called something on the front, because it wasn't owned by the town, it was owned by
Right, you said it was a user road
user road.
and that
and
when you
that-
talked to the
I
surveyor.
talked to the surveyor, and he said it was a
Right.
user road, and that he didn't think I needed it, because it was a user road.
Right,
So,
I think that's where it.
and then, come to
from
find
the
out 2
front
days
where it
ago,
is. Right,
it's like the building inspector called me and says, I got a variance, and I got one, I don't know, back in 17 or 18
Right.
to separate it from my father's property. And then I came back, that was 18, and then I came back last year and got the variance for the right and the back, and it didn't include the front.
Right.
I called Bill up, I said, Bill, I thought we did all this. I didn't know he was off the board. And I said, what? He said, you're all set. I says, obviously not, because the building inspector is saying I'm not. So why would I go for the left and the back and not the front?
Mhm.
I'm missing 7 feet.
In the application, the original application, you do have that it's only the front, I'm sorry, only the rear and the side. There's no mention of the front in your, in the application there, which we granted the variance.
And not to throw myself under the bus, but it should be 60 feet from the front, not
Oh.
40.
Yeah, because it's 40 here.
I know it does. I know it does. Because we were thinking it was an accessory structure because we were going off the garage. But
And-
because the garage is attached, it counts as the primary structure.
And the other thing that confuses me was the trailer in the sunroom stood out 7 feet closer to the road than my double wide. So the double wide's sitting back further. It shows it right here on the map. It's like, there was already a building there and it was closer to the road, let alone my father's, which is 30 feet close to the road, and all the neighbors up and down the street, which is 20 feet to the road. And I took Charles' height and Charles said, you should be good because it's a whatever the hell kind of road it is. And then I looked at the map today, I'm like, the trailer was closer to the road, so I'm not even close to where I was. I'm back further than where I was.
Yeah.
So,
But that was built in the 80s, way before, when we could annex properties like that to have these in-law, father-in-law, mother-in-law suites.
yeah,
We don't do that anymore, zoning.
yeah, well, that's
That
the way it was back then, and I went further back, so, what do I gotta do?
What do we need to do?
All right, I guess that's the question, right? Is-
What do we?
Yeah, I mean,
We're not prepared for it.
Yeah, nobody was expecting this, but
I wasn't
I
expecting this.
I would guess you probably got to,
resubmit.
resubmit.
Even if you don't resubmit, if you want to bring it up, I mean, you're still gonna have to send out green cards.
The third time,
I know.
that was the
I
second
don't
time I
agree
got
with
screwed
I
up.
feel
We've
like
been
it
through
should
this
have
over and
been,
over and over
it
again.
could have.
Why do we
definitely
have
been
to keep
included
doing
in the
this?
last variance, but
Yeah,
I think because of the issue confusion with from the road frontage versus from the property line, where, where does the setback start?
Well, then
I
you
have,
guys
I
should
have
have made
it
that
with a lot of
clear.
people too.
Why
where-
are
Well-
we getting the runaround?
yeah,
I
I
don't understand.
I feel like, I don't know what the hell's going on in this town, but I can tell you myself personally, right now, if I didn't know the business in this town, I'd be gone. I have never been screwed around so much in a town as I've been in my own goddamn town that I grew up in. This is bullshit. I'll do whatever I gotta do, but this is ridiculous. I just can't believe it. I can't, everything shows. I mean, it's all right here, but certain people just gotta stop me and I don't get it, but whatever I gotta do, I gotta do. But this is, when Bill Balky says to me, Randy, you're all set. And then I call him today on the phone, he says, you should be all set. We did a variance and they did an 18, and you should be variance all the way around that piece of property. Why the hell would I do a back and a side? And I didn't know the front needed it, but do two sides. Well, I love it here so much. Let me come back the next year. Whatever I gotta do. I just can't believe the games I gotta go through.
And what-
First I do the green cards, then they don't have a quorum, so I gotta do the green cards again, I gotta pay for it, and now I gotta do it for a third time.
No, we shouldn't have to.
We got to, what choice do we got?
We shouldn't have to. This is on you guys because you guys weren't clear enough.
This is on
Obviously
the
to
application. It says,
So,
I don't give a
That-
shit the application
that's,
says.
Randy,
You-
relax, take a
No,
breath.
I can't
Nobody's
relax.
cursing
No,
at you.
I can't relax.
Relax.
You read this letter from the planning board, it says what I need. It says right here, and everybody gets a copy of this. Would you relax? If this was you? Whatever I gotta do, I'll play the game like I've been for the last year. I've already ordered the double wide. I've already got thousands of dollars into this. And then the building inspector calls me up 2 days ago and says, oh, you don't have the setback in the front. I said, according to what I was told the last meeting, and I listened to it today, I was told I'm all set, you're good to go. Everybody looked at the maps. Everybody looked at the maps, the planning board, the zoning board, Jesus Christ, whatever. I'm done. I'll just do another application. What am I gonna do?
We put a shitty trailer back on it and leave it there. How is that? And we'll move out of the town. I grew up in this town too.
Yeah, I feel like we get screwed all the way around.
We did with the propane and now with the house.
It's just been an oversight.
And now I gotta go through all this because it was an oversight again on everybody's part, just not my part.
Not on our part.
Well, first of all, this was thrown on us. I'm not the chairman.
Well, no,
He's the
no, no,
chairman.
no, no, it was thrown on you. You're right. It was.
Without any knowledge ahead of time.
Yes, I know. You didn't know. I know.
So,
Actually, none
I
of us,
think we-
I found out, you know,
I-
I've less
right,
than
I was
24 hours of
pulling
notice
stuff.
to this.
I came in early to pull stuff. I didn't.
I think
When
our
I got
next
this
step,
phone call yesterday or 12 o'clock in the afternoon, and he says to me, you got the side yard, you got the backyard, you don't have the front yard. I'm like, what are you talking about? I made sure I did everything. I came to meetings for 4 months. It's like, really?
There's a lack of communication and too many oversights. The right hand doesn't know what the left hand's doing.
And it's partially my fault, but I expect the planning board and the zoning board
Get
to,
their shit
communicate.
together.
to read. I don't know. I'm depending on you guys. I honestly thought it was a private road because Charles Height said it's a user road. The town's got a right of way. And I said, oh, all right, so it's not gonna be a big deal. But obviously,
okay,
one building
first of all,
inspector did it.
first of all, Randy, if, let me speak for a second, is that all right?
Yeah, go ahead.
We went off your application. Now, I think what we should do, and again, it's up to the chairman, that we talk to the attorney, the town attorney, and see if there's anything that can be done
Okay.
without having to go through a meeting and get your blood pressure settled down a little bit.
It's gonna have her.
There's always an alternative. You know,
I hope. I mean,
you
I've
can
been,
fight and you're just not, it's not gonna work.
I've been dealing with this all day today. I've been speaking to everybody. I spoke to my lawyer. I'm like, I don't know what's going on in this town. And I said this in the planning board.
Yeah, that doesn't help anything. Let's try to work it out. We may not
I'd
be
love
able
to.
to.
I'd
I don't know
love
if we can.
Yeah, right. I know.
In the meantime, I'll get an application and resubmit, and that'll keep things going. I'll talk to the attorney and see what can be done, if anything.
So what was submitted to the attorney that you had to have approval for? I thought this was all included in when the attorney gave their okay to what we were doing.
So if I understand it correctly, we gave the attorney, the approval for the application, which
Right,
had
and then the
three sides
planning
to it.
board had the attorney approve the lot line adjustment paperwork.
Right.
So
When
that's
Charles
where
did it.
that came in. I'm not sure about,
Yeah,
I think the bottom line is everybody was concentrated on the right side because it was 3 feet and now it's 15 feet. Nobody even paid attention to the rest. I mean, I was told by the architect or by Charles Height that it was a user road. It's not owned by the town. It's maintained by the town. So you're not worried. You don't have to worry about the right of ways because it's not, and every house on that road is 20, 25 feet. It's,
Do you know
their
why,
houses are closer to the road than my double wide is gonna be.
why he said that? I mean,
I
have we
can't
done
answer.
that on other houses, on user roads? That
There's a bunch of roads in the town of Baltimore that are user roads. They're maintained by the town, but they're not owned by the town.
And
And
does
I don't
that
know
make
what
a
my father
difference
did.
on frontage?
What's that?
I mean, in our zoning, does that make a difference on frontage that we don't know
According to
about?
Charles Height, which I can't ask him now because he had a stroke, but according to Charles Height, in the town of Baltimore, there's a lot of user roads. And when it comes to user roads, the setbacks aren't the same. So he mentioned it to me and said, you're good because it's a user road. And then another person in the town said the same thing. Hadley Drive, my father turned it over to the town, which I don't know. He said it was a user road. So you're not supplement to the setbacks, but
Mhm.
if it's true, I don't know.
Yeah,
But I'm just pulling up what the planning board told me, and I went by what I was told, and I didn't even know I didn't put it on there. I had no idea.
Right,
I had no idea.
look, reading this right now, right? I mean, that's what it says. It says you applied for rear and a side setback. And
I can't believe nobody else noticed it. until it got to the building inspector for the final.
We talked about it in the meetings, we talked about front setbacks in the meetings, right?
Yeah, I brought it up because it was an issue. It was not around the application.
Right, I mean, it was brought up. I mean, I guess the problem is right now, right, is that the application wasn't filled out correctly.
No.
I mean, if we were to reopen the variance, I don't know that we
It's
can.
gonna take the same amount of time as reapplying.
Right,
If
I
you
don't
wanna
know if
keep
we
things
could-
going, I'll talk to the attorney in the meantime.
Of the
See what can
application.
happen. Resubmit the application. Again, nobody knew this was happening tonight. So you're coming up here and yelling at all of us and you're upset. We get it. It's been through a lot, but resubmit
You
the
should get it.
application. Why should I get it?
You, all of you should. The shit I've been through with this town, with the planning board and the zoning board,
Nobody's
why
out to
should
get
you
you.
get it? You, everybody
Nobody's-
on the
nobody's out
board
to
who's
get
been
you.
on the board,
No, I don't-
you can smirk all you want.
Nobody's smirking, Randy.
Yeah,
You're the
okay.
one person yelling at us. Nobody
Yeah.
came here tonight for this. So
Believe me, I didn't expect that phone call at noontime yesterday either.
don't
I
take it
had
out on
no
us.
idea.
Don't take it out on us. All right, we're gonna close this meeting.
Brad, before you do, just
Yes.
one question. In speaking with the town attorney, could we just clarify if this road does have that
Yes.
setback requirement or not?
Yeah.
That might be the easiest thing.
That's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll
All right.
make some calls, we'll get it figured.
It might not be, I don't know.
Let's clarify that first.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, I make a motion to close this meeting.
Somebody.
I second it.
All right,
All in favor?
Aye.
all in favor?
Aye.
You wanna do that now, or you want me to come back tomorrow?